おうにちは RNG vs デトネーションフォーカスミーセカンドゲーム、まさかデトネーションがファーストゲーム勝ったよ。しかもまぐれとかじゃないからね、連戦から有利取ってそのまま綺麗に畳んだよ。綺麗に畳みましたよ。 RNG ここでブルーサイドを選択。エビの懸念も進化してたね。ナーはやっぱバンされるんだ。エートロックスを開ける。またデトネーションは別にエートロックス取りもしないし取らせても問題ないみたいだね。マオカイバンされるか。やっぱマオカイは強いよな。マオカイはほんとスティールになってると思うわ。結構コントロールタイプだし、ピクミンでブッシュチェックとかコントロールできるからね。マオカイがいると反転が非常にやりやすい。スローもしづらくなる。デトネーションの弱点をカバーしてくれる役割してるから、マオカイいない時どうなるかな。
The Aatrox is the one hovered. That is power pick incarnate right now. I liked a little bit of cheekiness hovering the cannon before they locked the Aatrox in, just saying, hey, we know that this is still up and you picked it last time.
Aatrox 相手は基本懸念だけど、デトネーション懸念悪くなかったけどね。あごと行くの。今年は1回も出してないけどな。
Just running it back. Just running it back.
Big thumbs up there as he locks in the cannon, knows exactly what he wants. Now I am curious to see, would it be something like the Hecarim that we were kind of highlighting, the steal could take away, he's played that 3 times already, or does he want to go back towards something where he can be a little bit more proactive in the early stages, and looks like it is going to be the case.
セジュワニはトップもいけるんだけど、さすがにこれはセットだからジャングルやね。ノノモンさんサブスクライバーありがとうございます。
And the Silas is open this time around. That was banned away last time by DFM. They dropped it for the Fiora ban. So this is definitely
RNG は最近は見てないけど、基本ジャングルが上手くて、ボトム、ガラがめちゃくちゃ強いよね。ただトリスターの相手にカイザ出してやることなかったように見えた。
Well, they've got the Viego locked in for
Ray here on the side of RNG.
So double melee top side there with the jungler and the top laner. Thinking about this Tristana here, they're going to go ahead and lock that one in.
取られるとカイサー出しにくいよね。ここで ADC 取らないと結構バンされるぞ。
I also think it's just a good strategy for RNG, saving Xiaohu for second half because he has a much wider champion pool than what we've seen Galo show. Like Galo's going to be Kai'Sa, Tristana, Aphelios, maybe a Xayah. Like there's something there, but save that for later on. And DFM looks like they're going to do it. They are going to do a bit of a run back with a better jungle matchup to pair with your melee mid laner.
I am really surprised though, because what I thought we might see is them go, okay, look, we're gonna end up leaving this counter pick for Yaharong in the mid lane. Let's try and get the likes of our AD carry and support on this next rotation, then we'll be fine. So I feel like when I'm looking at RNG, they're ban away AD carries, and then you're kind of going, okay, well, is this going to be successful when you have Gala with the extra bit of range thanks to draw the
marksman bans here in this draft for the side of DFM.
The
only marksman that was banned away in the first half is Graves, who is not played in the bot lane.
トリスはカイサー相手強いけど、それでもカイサバン。
Kai'Sa will be banned out by RNG. Lissandra banned away by DFM. We do not have synced up picks for the roles here in the first half of the draft, so I expect the bans to be a bit lopsided in the second half as well. Galio banned away. So 2 of these playmaking potential like team fighter type of mid laners banned away from Xiaohu.
Yeah, and I like the bans coming out from both sides, especially the Yuumi ban coming out last, because I was so terrified that we would get the Sivir Yuumi coming out for the side of DFM. I actually really would like the Aphelios pick here. Just give yourself some more scaling insurance policy. You have the Moonlight Vigil for big AoE when you're already setting up this huge team fight, and it's going to be in RNG's court to answer back, and for Xiaohu to show something that can go
I'm really curious what Harp is going to bring to the table here as well. He has played 8 unique champion picks already in the support role. This guy, very flexible when it comes to the bottom lane. We've seen the Shen, we've seen things like the Morgana as well, and I like that we're kind of leaving open the opportunity here for Harp to find out how he wants to go toe against Ming and try and make Gala and Ming that little bit more uncomfortable.
What do they take?
And now for Xiaohu, I mean, we've already seen him pull out aggressive picks like the LeBlanc. Once again, for me, it feels like RNG wanting to opt into more agency. They have this Tristana, they want to try and set up more aggressive plays towards Amazon, so maybe he can unlock himself a little bit earlier on.
A lot of this
エン
composition
ゲージだろうね。
kind of
ノー
feels
チ
like,
か
hey, we're just
ア
gonna
ム
go
ム
back
か
to comfort and see if this works, right? Waze, Diego was a massive pick back in spring, back at MSI. We didn't really see a huge amount of it coming into summer. You're looking at like the Tristana for Gala, LeBlanc coming back in
レ
for
オナ
Xiaohu.
よりアム
These
ム
are
だと
kind
思
of
うけ
picks
ど
that these players are well known for,
Yep.
but it's not exactly something that we kind of think of traditionally as the meta picks we've seen so far.
And I do like them
Detonation
going for engage
は
here on the last pick because that was my big concern with these first four.
ア
There's
ムムに
not
対して
really a way
強い
to
ジ
go
ャン
in
プ
unless you're just so far ahead that you're flanking them.
ブラムもありえるけど
You're
ブラム
always
っていいんだっけ
there first, whatever. Amumu is at least going to give them a trigger pull. It is going to give them a way to go if they want to take the fight. But what is DFM going to pick into it? Hard played Leona last time around.
そう
Definitely
や
this.
ば俺なんかピックワン全
Yeah,
部
I
当て
think
るよ
it just looks like a great pick. You know what
It's
RNG
me.
have? Gonna stop the Amumu from being
Jace
able to
me.
get in, deny some access, as well as pairs well
Nah,
with
I,
Sejuani. Again,
predicted
just
that
all
pick.
ins on the fact of this huge AoE team fight that they've been setting up for.
The only thing I'm worried about with the Braum pick is now this gives a ton of agency to Xiao. He can pop in, he can blow a
俺は
bunch of
カズーダだっ
damage,
た
pop back out. There's no one really that can lock him up quickly
Okay.
enough, especially with like popping it without popping a Kennen ult or a Sejuani ult or investing a huge amount to try and deal with
構
him
成
as he
的
tries to-
はそうだ
Right, it would have
ね
to be like a point-blank Sejuani.
お互いエンゲージもできるし
Stacks. Yone has to channel his
ADC
ulti
バトル
before
もで
he's
きる
able
し
to use it. Braum needs stacks. Aphelios has to mark you and then CC
そうだねまあ結局 ADC ゲーかな
if played well, which we know what
どっちのハイパーキャリー ADC が軽く出せるかってところあり
But
そう
this is the thing. We said, hey, it's about Xiaohu in the early game last game.
ただアフェリオスの方が機動力がないからその分立ち位置難しいんでブラームがうまく立ち回らないとね
He needs to get help from way to get
Hello こんにちは RNG vs デトネーションフォーカスミセカンドゲーム始まりましたデトネーションがまさか初戦で勝つとはねしかも完封だったよ今回は特に構成負けしたかって言われるとそうでもないから問題はボトムとミッドのマッチアップだねミッドはルブラン有利マッチアップだしボトムもやっぱアムムがめちゃくちゃレベル1から強いから RNG がちょっと 2v2 でゴリ押してきたりとかしてきた場合崩れる可能性もある特にボトムレーンが 2v2 負け始めたら結構厳しくなるんでミッドの連戦とボトムの連戦がとても重要になりそうですねあとビエゴって結構アグレッシブにプレイしてくる傾向があるからそれもどううまくねいなせるかだねこのビエゴがフラッシュ持ってる時 W フラッシュこれが危険だねただまあお互いにハイパーレードゲームキャリー同士でブラームがフェ守ってどっちが軽く出せるかなっていう勝負かな
Both junglers are starting on their blue buffs this time around. You can actually
ブラームがいるから結構ルブラン相手しやすそうだよ
red buff of DFM, keeping track of
ルブランが
making sure that
チームファイトではヨネよりは劣るだろうからそこでヤハロンが
And I feel like for Steel, it's very similar to Game 1, where you expect to see him a lot mid,
通常攻撃でしばいていくしかしイグナイト
later coming out is we're getting a ton of trading going on that I didn't expect at level 1. Xiao already having to blow the Ignite.
いいね3連見せてくれるのありがたいねまあミッドは相手がイグナイトでヤハロンはテレポートなんででもウェーブ状況的にあんま良くないのかな押し込んでる今さっきちょっと押し込んでるまあ今バックしても買い物ねえからテレポートしないでルブランはいいフラッシュが怖いぞおおサイドステップ大丈夫でしょうナイスこのブルーバフ側のキャンプ食ってからのレベル3のギャンクは気をつけないといけないねこれがやっぱ油断してると食らっちゃうからパパも言ってたけどフェイカーがこれ食らってなんだファイナル負けたんだよねセジョアニがブルーサイド3キャンプ食ってギャンクされてただヤハロンはそれを警戒できてるね昨日のカズータのインタビューも見たけどそういうのもしっかりコーチ陣は準備してるみたいだからヤハロンうまくいなしてる
RNG once more, like we saw in
普通ブルー取ってからのギャンクってあんまないんだけどさ、やっぱレッドバフ持ってる時はダメージもあるしスローもあるからギャンクしてくるけど、ブルーバフ側はね、まあ相手が油断してる前提で決めるやつなんだけど、流行ってんね。ただこれが流行ればあんまなくなると思うけどな。強いわけじゃねえから、油断してるから刺さるだけで。まだま警戒してないと。そうか、ルブランのダブルに合わせてヨネが E で避けれればめちゃくちゃ有利になるね。ミッドはスキルマッチアップだけど、ルブランの W を E で避けながら戦えばかなり有利が取れそうです。ビエゴが来る。ブラーム硬い。いやー、やっぱアムムはえぐいわ、レンの強さが。アムム1回入ってきてクラッシュまで待ってからの休暇。ブラームで耐えられなかったら誰が耐えられるんだよあれ。
Gonna be able to set up for a repeat play down on the spot side. Wave gets pushed in as well, so maybe you could try and answer back on a bounce back. And we're 5 minutes in, and we've already had a lot of solid ganks coming out from RNG. And Dagda, we were talking about this a little bit before we came live, that RNG are not really the team from the LPL.
いや 2v2 で有利は取ってたんだけどね、敵のジャングラーがいいタイミングで飛んできたな。ミニオンがあと3歩ぐらい前に行ってくれたら。アムムはね、ギャンク合わせがマジで強いからね。
from steals, so I don't think DFM were really prepared for Way to be there with the
集団戦のタイミングはみんなでアムムをフォーカスしないとな。アムムフォーカスでセジョアニのウルトを積極的にアムムに使って溶かしたいね。でもセジョアニがウルトってからフォローアップできるキャラがあんまいねえな。ヨネがいってもちょっと危ないし、アムムに好き勝手されると負けるから。
He has his teleport still up. He has his flash still up. If a fight breaks out somewhere and he's got a good spot to join up, that could be devastating.
Exactly, because for DFM, this is the window they're looking for, right? Ultimates to be online. That's when Yaharong will start having pressure. As Xiaohu actually does outtrade him right now, and well, everything I'm saying goes out the windows. He's forced to blow that one right away.
Yeah, just really nice job from Xiaohu, right? Lands the double chains, and because you're not exactly sure where RNG are now, they decide to end up using Yaharong's ultimate to get him to safety. But at least it should be back up for things like the That's where I'm really curious to see what RNG's game plan is going to be. It feels like with Evi having note, Yaharong having note, Steel as well, like that's a lot of CC on that top side. And even though we were talking earlier about the skirmish potential for RNG, like it's matched quite heavily by DFM. So there is a world where RNG just go, we're going to lean bot, we're going to look to try and use that Tristana to take turret plates and just give Rift Turret across.
Right, because they have many options, especially with how Xiaohu's been able to find himself in a pretty solid place in mid, because LeBlanc, an excellent champion, if they were the team on Rift Herald first, with the control they have in side lanes, can just pop over the wall, start poking people out, try to burn summoner spells and not allow DFM to enter, but their composition definitely giving them a lot to work with at this point in time.
Scryer's Bloom gonna find Steel there in the top side river, but he's already secured the crab. It doesn't matter too much. He'll be able to safely make his exit as the second round of the buff starts spawning. Way's gonna go ahead, start up that blue buff there on the RNG side. 1,000 gold lead.
ヘラルドのタイミングでどう立ち回るかな。ボトムはトリサーナが1キル取ったけど、ユタポン CS では勝ってる。
They don't quite have that same early go on it this time around. Yaharong just continuing to farm up here in mid as Way's hanging around nearby. You can see Xiaohu coming right back down the lane. They might look to see if they can catch Yaharong trying to shove up the next wave here.
Yeah, and I
ヨネが今ウルトないから狙ってんの。セジョアにもいいところに来るね。スティールポジションいいな。先に仕掛けたらアムム弱えぞ。いいね。純粋な 2v2 はブラームが強いはずだから、ここでアムムのフラッシュ使わせた。しかもイグナイトも使わせた。ヘラルド触りに行く。
Xiaohu finds Yahara.
Won't find a whole lot more
ブ
on
ラー
him.
ム
It
が
looks
夜
like it's Xiaohu and
セジ
Wei
ョ
are
ア
going
に
to
入ってく
back up from this one. They're not trying to get in a big fight just yet.
お互いサポートが来る
Harp and Ming now
しかし相手は
also
ノーサムナースペル
here in
こっちはエグゾー
walking
スト
up from the bottom side, which leaves Yutapon all alone.
ハラスされる
Everybody always does the red white, don't fight me. Mogala
グロ
just
ン
says
プ食
get
って
this
回
dude
復
the
し
hell
よ
out of
う
here.
武
He's
器も
not
ライフ
worried
スティー
about
ル
it
がある
whatsoever as the mid lane fight continues. Harp jumping back away. Wei is
ナイスエ
ready
グ
to
ゾ
come
ー
in
ス
and
ト
try to
セジ
secure this
ュア
kill.
にのウル
Harp
ト刺さ
gets
った
himself
ウルト
back out with a nice flash. And DFM comes back and finds the kill.
普通にデトネーション強ないこれ殺したよいやだ無能フラッシュだからねああ豚お前食うんじゃねえよ豚だからお前太るんだまあ4年にキル渡したかったけどまあまあまあまあナイス
This was my biggest worry.
いやデトネーション普通に強ない
You have to burst someone
ポテンシャル高えなおい
Otherwise, the consistent damage is just there for DFM. Wei overextends, ends up giving the kill across the DFM, and they can now turn it back. But RNG, I don't know
構
if
成
they
も悪くねえんだよな
They're gonna try. They'll walk up only to see Steel take
なん
the
かワイルドカードチームあるあるのクソみたいな特集ピック自分の得意キャラみたいなさそういう奥めたチャンピオンでもないから見てて安心できるな
Sure, RNG are finding favorable trades in the lane. We've seen Xiao especially doing quite well. Breathes in a few waves.
あれポンさんなんかキル取ってねポンさんキル取ってたっけ
But DFM waiting for members like Harp to show up, knowing that if it is an even numbers fight, they are able to go for it. So I love that we get the replay now because so much from RNG just gets burnt onto Harp right here. Engage comes through. We're gonna see the exhaust actually come out onto Wei, so he's unable to get a lot done.
見た相手が今マップ見てマップダイブしてきたんだトリスターナがトリスターナがダイブしてきたねウェーブでけえから相打ちを狙ったのか
Fall in, try to see if he gets a kill here. Alright, I think he just jumps in, yeah. And Yutapon has the healing. Gala doesn't get the initial damage and just completely overestimates how much he can get done.
Gala's gonna want that one back. Got a little
Nice
bit
flash
too
Wを
high there and ends up paying the price for it. DFM
E の爆
feeling
発と
good
ダ
now.
メージが遅れたの
Sunfire
か
is completed on the Sejuani. This is one of those champions that sometimes
ユタポン強ない
players go for the Bomby Cinder into Warmog's build, but he's 2-0. If he completes the Aegis, he stays ahead of the curve. He's much more of a threat here in the fights. I'm liking this.
And he still has that rift.
これ来年 NA ですかユタポン
They are going to start up the dragon here. RNG are in position. I think if DFM are able to get this dragon and lean mid, they can immediately turn down the rift tower because everyone on RNG's bot side.
Ming jumps on Harp, but again, this is usually not a super successful
あ
plan
ム
to
ム
go
を狙えばいいんじゃないか
after
みんな
Braum.
で
And indeed, it is
あ
not
ー殺し
just
きれね
yet,
え
but a
お
move
でも
might
ポ
be
ン
just
が
as
ポ
much
ンが
of a
取るよ
problem.
エートルが歩いてきてる
Gets the
エートル歩いてきてる
snipe
来る
on
前に
Ming.
来る前に
How
取れ
many times you gonna
取
jump
った
on Braum before you
何が
learn?
起きてんだこれ
You
で
can't
も
be
ウェネ
jumping on Braum.
DFM doing a great job of punishing the RNG mistakes. Like, Xiao was walking back mid from
RNG から
base. 4
disband
members of DFM there. They're bot lane very
そう
easily
だ
able to
RNG がもしもさ
rotate.
デトネーション相手にさ負けたらさどうなるのチーム
Looks like they are, and DFM
RNG が心配になってきたわ
even going back to the Sunfire point, like look at the damage that RNG has.
泳いで帰るどころじゃねえぞおい
These tankier members of DFM, they've been trying on the Braum so many times. I'm scared for them when they try to take down the Sejuani.
It's the same conversation as game one. If RNG fall behind, Xiaohu can't do what he needs to do. Wei can't get the resets. Like
RNG って中国の中でもかなり人気の方だよね
and they're already stacking these objectives as well. RNG are just throwing people at DFM and they're saying thank
基
you very
本
much.
韓国人入れなくて
And let's go back
全員
to
中
the
国人
Xiaohu
の
win condition that we were talking about that
歴史
you
のある
guys
チ
were
ーム
hitting on so hard coming into the game. Remember that you're up against Yone, and this is not the old school like Immortal Shield Bow, Infinity Edge, like pure create Yone. This is the Bork Sunfire like modern bruiser build. It's hard to
も
assassinate
う
him.
このシリーズ勝ったらもう NA の枠消してジャパン枠2つでいいだろ
He's just going to be a torpedo.
マジ
He's
で
going to go in and press R. After that, he's done. Whatever. If he dies, who cares?
And that's
もう
why
NA を下げて JP 上げよう
want
ぜ
Xiaohu to be able to get access to him, but you've got 2 kills already. Like this Aphelios has a guild force. Aphelios
SG
is
も
one of
結
those
構強い
AD
もんな
carries that hits back if you try to assassinate him. So you've actually got to be super careful here, Xiaohu, that you're just not getting outpaced by DFM entirely.
I also feel like one of the big takeaways from game one, like let's remember, Evie was getting
ただ
hard
今日
focused,
EG
pretty
なん
much
か勝っ
taken
て
out
た
of the
な
game, didn't have a huge impact. But DFM 2 games in a row have drafted compositions
俺
with
さ
3
昨日
crafts. Even if you are able to take one down, they have the
た
damage
だ
to
NA チーム
supplement
が
the rest of the
3
fight.
立てで負けるから今日は絶対2時間 スケジュールさなんだ早まるって言ってたけど EG が3立てで勝ってたよ。どうなってんの。ヨーロッパどうしたマットライン。ヨーロッパは NA に勝つのが仕事なんだけど。早まったのは合ってたけど、まさか NA チームが3立てするとはね。そこにまあデトネーションも1回勝ってるわけだしな。タイブレーカーで負けて 1-1 だけど、デトネーション強いんだね。実質マットライオンよりも上ってことじゃん。RNG にも勝ってるし、この試合も勝ってる。おお、ヨネフラー、ヨネじゃないよ、ルブランフラッシュ。普通に連戦も強いんだが、ユタポン 2-0 なんだが、タワー取るんだが、What's going on, dude? Fucking 何最近のジャパニーズはみんな強いの？いろんなスポーツの界隈で。大谷しかり、どこだっけ？藤井聡太しかり。おい、ジャパニーズ最強時代来たかこれ。
Having a 3K gold lead, breaking down first turret, and it's only going to get easier from here. RNG are really going to rely on playing creatively and setting up picks.
But this is the thing for DFM, right? Like, we've seen them growing over the course of the tournaments. And I mean, Evie talks about how a day will go
Cannonball, go!
That was impressive. But oh, hang on. They're gonna back away, but for Evie, they talked about how disappointed they were in their games day one. They felt like they didn't have the best jobs. And then he also comes back and says, hey, look, we can beat anyone in this tournament. And right now, they're proving for DFM, a team that's for Utah as well. This is 2013. It feels like this has been such a long time coming for DFM. For them to be able to step up and go with
Evie's forced to slice through that maelstrom there and breathe off the world ender, maybe threatening a dive.
正直0-2でもいいんだよ、0-3でもいいんだよ、フラッシュあればいいんだよ。ケネンでキル取ってフラッシュなかったら何もできねえからな。ソロキルされてもいいからフラッシュ使うんじゃねえ。これはちょっとトップエイトロックスがうまくやったからヘラルド取れなかったね。まあヘラルド2つ目はどうでもいいよ。2つ目のドラゴンよ、問題は。
Yeah, they're just going to be able to get that wave in. Does give them, complete vision control over the bot side jungle. So no one from RNG can be able to rotate back and forth between mid and bot. We kind of saw there how RNG needs to set up to take neutral objectives, right? Hard force in the 1v1s before they come out, get those health advantages, and then it's like, hey, DFM can't enter this 5-man core.
でもまだ半分しか帰ってきてねえな、ウルト。このケネンのウルトが帰ってくる前に RNG は仕掛けてきそうだな。いやー、これデトネーションセットアップしてるぞ。これケネンがねテレポートしてもねウルトないからやることがゼロだよ。やれることがゼロだよ。行くの行くの行くね行くね。あ、でも死体はあっちだ。ビーゴ憑依できない。
This is the kind of fight RNG is looking for. Breathe coming around from the side. Gets caught up here a little bit as Utapon does have some CC available with the Gravitum, but DFM went for the play there.
死体が向こうで落ちてくれてありがてえ。ビーゴに行く作戦がうまくいかなかったね。ビーゴがウルト間に合ってたから逃げれたね。
And this was just a little bit too hype out of DFM there. Evie doesn't even have an ulti ready to go with that TP. Utapon using the Gale Force there to reposition away from the Infernal Chains. Xiaohu coming in, gets exhausted. They're ready to fire back here a little bit, but they cannot fire enough. It was close, but no cigar, and it's RNG. Smoking DFM. Gala's gonna knock Evie right back away, but he may still die. They get the kill, but now Xiaohu's gonna be careful.
戻らないか戻らない。ない。オーケー、まあ。負けてはいるけど、それでもキル取り返した。
back over the wall to safety, so Evie manages to pick him off. Yaharong will clean one up alongside him, and
ちょっと CC コンボが合わなかったね。セジュアリのウルトとヨネのウルトが噛み合わなかった。
I gotta say though, up until this turret, I thought that was pretty good for RNG because with the way the early game went, in my mind with these drafts, I favor DFM going forward in this game. So they need moments like that where
でもレートゲームは正直まだデトネーション有利だと思うから、ここでボロ負けてエースされて たわけじゃないんで、まあ大丈夫大丈夫。2つ目のノックアップをゲールフォースできたら完璧だったけど、食らってからゲールフォースしちゃったね。おっと、なんか戦いが起きてるんだけど、豚が狙われてる。オッケー、いいね、トリスタナ止めたぞ。3対3、まあビーゴもいたから3対4見なした。ヨネフリー。アムムのフラッシュ落としたのでかいね。OK、ビーうまく逃げた。
I mean, has a bit of a CS lead for himself with those kills, or maybe kind of equalizing it as well. Again, just the threat of the ultimate is so much dissuading from RNG without forcing out Xiaohu's flash.
ベックスダメだったけど、他のキャラ強えな。
But DFM are lurking nearby. Breathe is going to go after Eddie here. Slicing Maelstrom comes back out. Harp goes over the wall. Steel goes over the wall.
CC 豊富だぞ。ブラームとここからセジュワに。ただダメージが少ねえ。あ、これ殺しきれないんじゃないか。いけるのか。ダメージがね、この3人は。
Exactly what RNG needed. That play looked so good for DFM for me because we saw RNG actually make the play up towards top side first, which allowed DFM to push in mid. Then when RNG got back to mid, it gave them a window, but who cares about windows?
セジュワニがバックしてるからバロン行く。ヨネis coming, アフェリオス is coming, アフェリオス一応削っといた。いやー、これバロン取れねえな。マジか。
And RNG are finally in control.
流れ来てたんだけどね。
RNG were struggling so hard to get any foothold in this game, but finally to get the pick onto Evie. Xiaohu acquires his target in Udapon, and they can get the Baron for themselves as well. This now gives them so big of an opportunity to get some of the standing goals.
It's so weird that RNG feel like the scrappy underdog who are having to find these like weird oversteps from DFM to be able to win a game. So where DFM have felt like the more controlled team. Even in this game, even with them losing a Baron on the side of RNG, but still, at least now this Baron should be enough for them to start cementing themselves. We've seen Breathe has done a great job of just keeping pressure in that 1v1 in top side, so DFM constantly gonna have to think of sending multiple members to go and answer up in that lane.
多少ゴールドは逆転されたけど、まだまだいける。
Xiaohu Ming squad to find picks elsewhere if Udapon ever oversteps.
Yeah, that's why I think they'll just end up plunking Gala in the mid lane here. At this stage, like Gala has good wave clear, he's getting good range as he hits the level 12 as well. He can start to chip away at these turrets and make it very difficult for Udapon to solo hold on to these turrets, which then opens up the opportunity for, as you see, Xiaohu moving bot side, Breed to go into top lane. And you have to overcommit as DFM to one of these lanes to save it. And it looks like top side is going to be the one where they go for, as Yarong was hovering, considering going for Breed there.
DFM are on damage control for the next 90 seconds with the Baron in RNG's pocket. That bottom lane tier 2 turret, it's already down to 1/3 HP.
HP 少ないから危ないぞこれは。
If Yaharong goes anywhere near him, Wei is just waiting in the shadows over the wall there, ready to follow that mid laner, ready to keep him protected and keep this momentum going. Tier 1 turret still standing after 22 minutes of gameplay. You know that RNG would like to
ドラゴン15秒。しかし視界コントロール取られてるからまあギブかな正直。ドラゴン側はギブ。
And RNG have taken control of the bottom river.
And this is why coming in, we thought RNG would be one of our better teams in the mid game because they don't over-aggress too much for things. We see them just know, hey, we're gonna get this vision between mid and bot, play for the Drake and start to stack these up and have a bit of a win condition for themselves. You can see them constantly just keeping Yaharong locked in that lane. They know Breathe doesn't need to be in topside right now. He can just be in Fog of War, hovering back and forth, and that's enough to dissuade DFM from looking for any sort of play.
Yeah, I like that DFM didn't even consider it though. They were just like, cool, this is yours. We're out. We're gonna piece off top side. We're gonna get the tower for ourselves. Members up there.
セカンドタワーダイブはノーだよ。オッケーオッケー。ミッド戻る。いいね。これ前回同じ状況で4人でトップタワー触ってダイブしに行ったんだよ。今回は1人でなプレッ ッシャーだけ与えてエートロックス下がらせたね。修正してますよ。これ前回マジ4人がかりでいったからな。おテレポート切ってエートロックス追いかけるヨネが。殺せるか。ちょっと待って硬くね。おまファッキンエートロックス is fucking OP。
And that's what RNG needed to do. They end up getting up to the top side, saving Breeze just in the nick of time. And now they can start to take over in the jungle once more. Just making sure that Steel can't have any of his camp. Look to see them start to teeter now. Get this wave to crash. They can get that tier 2 for themselves as well.
And now right there, the team with this huge artillery can so easily break down these turrets anytime a small pick comes through. The great things about Tristana, she feels like one of the champions that no matter what, how small of a killer lead you get, you can always translate it into something.
And you can see how scared DFM are, right? We get this Yarong immediate TP into mid lane when they think, oh, maybe Wei's going for the dive, right? We need to save everyone, we need to stop this. Then he tries to play towards the top side. It's like, oh, maybe we can catch Breathe, but they're just not aware of how quickly RNG, especially Xiaohu, can move through this jungle. So this is the quick 1v1 with you see Yarong ends up going for the TP to the top side to try and make this play happen. But look how quickly RNG are able to get across here, especially with the cloud map as well. They get to speed up through the jungle.
ヨネ全然軽くねえなと思ったらエートロックスがノックアップ2人当てて回復すごかったのか。暁のシールドもあったし。
He's gone. That is the Yone teleport. That is the cannon flash. These are massive tools for DFM that were committed to a play that resulted in nothing but 2 deaths and an Aatrox flash. It feels really bad for them, and it feels like they've completely lost any sort of momentum they may have had in this game.
4000ゴールドさ。
just has them choked out.
これ以上離されなければってところだけど、懸念がノーフラッシュ。
And I love it. RNG just keep going with this poke. LeBlanc, you're an assassin, a bit of an all-in champion, but you also function as a poke champion, not allowing for them to come through. Wave pushing it in bot as well, so DFM don't have the access through that side of the map either.
I will just say, keep your eyes on this red ward that's on the bottom left corner of your screen there. That is the one that could actually be a good angle of attack for Eddie if it stays up for the next minute, because you are going to be looking at a big fight for the next dragon. And I mean, RNG, if that actually doesn't get cleared out, that gives such a good opportunity for Eddie to find his way into the backline.
I just want to point out, though, that Gala does have Lord Dominic's build now. We were talking about earlier on how they really are going to struggle to kill the front line of DFM. Now with Gala on 3 items, feels like they have the spike to do it.
And I'm glad that he went for that choice, right? Normally we always talk about Infinity Edge 3rd item.
Yes.
I love it when they divert over to the LDR instead, when you're up against 2 of these Aegis champions, these big meatballs that you gotta shoot through. And now Yaharok half HP again, having to back away. He had his fun in the early part of the game, playing the main character in the side lanes. Everybody else is working around him. I'm sorry, buddy, it is not your show anymore. Xiaohu jumps in, immediately distorts back, gets caught by a Sejuani ulti that doesn't have anybody else within 3 miles of it. Now gets jumped in again. Holy hell, why'd you throw so much at him? He's LeBlanc.
And I mean, at this stage, RNG, they still have to push on bot side. Breathe should be able to move this in towards the inhibitor turret. You've got positioning here as well for RNG if they want to, with resets coming in off of Gala. Like, there is a lot of space here for RNG.
And that just felt like desperation out of DFM. They hit the Sejuani ulti, okay, but then a Braum ult and an exhaust and just all of these things being thrown at this guy. He's already in the river, man. He's already gone.
Tacta wears hysterics. They threw his fridge at him as well. Like everything.
3つ目のドラゴンファイトしたいけど、ウルトは帰ってくるけど、戦うだろうな。アルブランデスキャップだ。チームファイトが始まる前に HP めっちゃ削られるなこれ。
Needs a bit of time. There's a wind up. There's things like Braum where you need to get that passive stacked up. So it's going to be quite the mission for DFM to focus one member of our team.
レベル差もあってきつい戦いですね。5000ゴールド差でレベル差あって。懸念のフラッシュ、神エンゲージが必要かもしれない。
That
Aphelios
forces you back,
ああ言われた。
Gala gets the free hit on the turret, and they can rip through these structures.
またギブかこれ。またギブっぽいな。視界が取れない。
Dragon all by himself, while the rest of RNG doesn't have to worry about it. He should be able to secure this with no issue whatsoever. And you can see Xiaohu and Breed, they're just looking for anybody from DFM that might even be thinking about coming near this. A LeBlanc, an Aatrox, the power of an Amumu as well. They could look for whatever they wanted here. Wei actually not going after the Dragon just yet. Instead, they're looking for a scrap. Yutapon, Harp, and Steel getting themselves away. That three-man squad staying together as RNG falls right back. The Drake's still live. Now we're getting some of those on my way pings, but you can see them in red coming out from DFM onto the Baron pit. They're thinking about maybe trying something here. They have a control ward in the back part of the pit, but that control ward did not see the blue ward that just only now got removed by the blue.
No, and DFM, I think, realizing that they won't be able to go for any sort of play like this. RNG will be able to pick up Dragon, though. And I like the way that RNG are playing the map with this three-man core in mid lane, breathe off on a side, but Xiaohu is the one going back and forth. A lot of times it could be your jungler because we see now Rabadon's death cap in pocket. Xiaohu's going to just be able to insta-get Yutapon if he ever gets on top of him. You were talking about Xiaohu and Breathe playing together in sides, lethality, Aatrox, plus how massive this block is. Anyone is just gone.
Well, Gala gets away from Steel jumping over the wall, but then he gets caught afterwards. Yaharong looking for the RNG 80 carry. Xiaohu gets caught out by the slicing master. He gets a kill, and he gets away from now. Steel stays on him, and Steel cleans him up. But they've already killed two on the side of DFM. Yutapon is gone, and Breathe will look for more. Gala's still ready to go, ready enough at least, as Breathe will keep the Yone away. It is a 2-for-1 favoring RNG.
DFM are forced back because Yutapon lost his life in that initial fight in River, so RNG now it looks like they're trying to bait the Baron. See if they can draw DFM in, and Harp's gonna answer.
Oh boy, there goes Harp. There goes Harp. Gala grabs that kill. Yaharong cannot snap back anywhere, and here comes Wei to follow it up and take down Steel to complete the ace for RNG.
RNG might have made a sweat in the early game, but able to come back with some beautiful picks and honestly just beautiful plays, baiting them into the Baron pit. DFM knowing, hey, we can't lose this one. We have about the same members, have to go for it, but walking into the waiting arms of RNG. And now with the Baron in the cards, Dagda, everything's feeling back to normal.
Yeah.
For now.
Can someone come up and collect these emotional support teddy bears? We're done. We're good now.
They did their job, man. I'm saying that right now. They did their job, and RNG are doing their job here in this one. Baron under their belts for the second time this game. Let's take another look at how it started off here.
This is the biggest problem that DFM are having, right? Is that they never actually get to set themselves up properly. Everything's only just getting through this fight, as everything in the kitchen sink has already been used, right? Yutapon has gone in. You've already got the Sejuani ult down. You've got the Yone ult down as well. Everything has gone through before anyone really gets here. So we're not getting these punch back fights where DFM have a good chance. And instead you're getting Xiaohu access to the backline, Yutapon getting picked off immediately, and then going in blind into this. It's easy like for RNG to clear this.
And I just want to remind people that like, this started the opposite way. That sure, there weren't a ton of kills early on, but DFM were the team with map control for the first like 10-15 minutes of this game. You know, Flowers talking earlier on, that was when he was the main character, but after those picks and mistakes came through for RNG, it just hasn't been the same.
Yeah, RNG had a sloppy early game. We saw the two different attempts from Ming to make a catch onto Harp, and it was just like, come on, man, what are you doing? We saw a 2,000 or 3,000 gold lead for DFM, but this is where we got to see more of the major versus minor region difference in the mid game, in the coordinated fights, and RNG has pulled ahead to the point where now DFM's going to need a miracle to be able to survive. It's another 100 seconds of Baron they have to endure.
And I mean, we've now gotten to the point where Gala does have the Infinity Edge, so pretty much being at full power for the Tristana. They're just going to go for the fight.
There it is. Bandage toss, flash, ulti, goodbye Aphelios, goodbye. Cute, but that's about all you're gonna get. Steel tries to get away. Gala may have died, but it cost the entire game to do it. DFM with only their mid laner left. False RNG.
It was a rocky early game, but RNG will bounce back in game number 2.
GG.
DFM tried to run the same comp twice, and RNG learned from mistakes.
RNG got it figured out. Yaharong's gonna go in with a fate shield, but I think the fate is his own. He goes back into the fountain. RNG has plenty of time. Xiaohu drops the ignite, and he even gets the fadeaway kill. Series is tied up. and RNG.
3試合目どうなるか楽しみだな。